Hi, my name is Romina Viteri, and my topic is the relationship between emotional brain formation, stress, depression, food addiction, and weight. Stress and food intake. In the short term, stress can shut down appetite. The nervous system sends message to the adrenal glands atop the kidneys to pump out the hormone epinephrine, also known as adrenaline. Epinephrine helps trigger the body's fight or flight response, revert a physiological state that temporarily puts eating on hold. But if stress persists, it's a different story. The adrenal glands release another hormone called cortisol, and cortisol increases appetite and may also ramp up motivation in general, including the motivation to eat. Once a stressful episode is over, cortisol levels should fall. But if the stress doesn't go away or if a person's stress response gets stuck in the on position, cortisol may stay elevated. Depression, emotional eating, and weight change. Depression melancholy is typically characterized by loss of appetite and subsequent weight loss, but there exists also a depression subtype that is characterized by the typical vegetative symptom of increased appetite and weight gain. Emotional eating has been considered a marker of this atypical depression subtype because it shares with this depression subtype the atypical feature of increased appetite in response to distress. Food addiction. Firstly, food addiction is maladaptive, so also people overeat to feel better. It often ends up making them feel worse and give them more to feel bad about. Food addiction can threaten health, causing obesity, malnutrition, and other problems. Secondly, the overeating that people with food addiction do is persistent. So a person addicted to food eats too much food and often the wrong kinds of food too much of the time. We all overeat from time to time, but people with food addiction often overeat every day, and they eat not because they are hungry, but as their main way of coping with stress. Then, if they are unavailable to overeat, they experience anxiety or other painful emotions.
If you sucked all of the moisture out of your brain and broke it down to its constituent nutritional content, what would it look like? Most of the weight of your dehydrated brain would come from fats, also known as lipids. In the remaining brain matter, you would find proteins and amino acids, traces of micronutrients, and glucose. The brain is, of course, more than just the sum of its nutritional parts, but each component does have a distinct impact on functioning, development, mood, and energy. So that post-lunch apathy or late-night alertness you might be feeling, well, that could simply be the effects of food on your brain. Of the fats in your brain, the superstars are omegas 3 and 6. These essential fatty acids, which have been linked to preventing degenerative brain conditions, must come from our diets. So eating omega-rich foods like nuts, seeds, and fatty fish is crucial to the creation and maintenance of cell membranes. And while omegas are good fats for your brain, long-term consumption of other fats, like trans and saturated fats, may compromise brain health. Meanwhile, proteins and amino acids, the building block nutrients of growth and development, manipulate how we feel and behave. Amino acids contain the precursors to neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers that carry signals between neurons, affecting things like mood, sleep, attentiveness, and weight. They're one of the reasons we might feel calm after eating a large plate of pasta, or more alert after a protein-rich meal. The complex combinations of compounds in food can stimulate brain cells to release mood-altering norepinephrine, dopamine, and serotonin. But getting to your brain cells is tricky, and amino acids have to compete for limited access. A diet with a range of foods, helps maintain a balanced combination of brain messengers and keeps your mood from getting skewed in one direction or the other. Like the other organs in our bodies, our brains also benefit from a steady supply of micronutrients. Antioxidants in fruits and vegetables strengthen the brain to fight off free radicals that destroy brain cells, enabling your brain to work well for a longer period of time. And without powerful micronutrients like the vitamins B6, B12, and folic acid, our brains would be susceptible to brain disease and mental decline. Trace amounts of the minerals iron, copper, zinc, and sodium are also fundamental to brain health and early cognitive development. In order for the brain to efficiently transform and synthesize these valuable nutrients, it needs fuel, and lots of it. While the human brain only makes up about 2% of our body weight, it uses up to 20% of our energy resources. Most of this energy comes from carbohydrates that our body digests into glucose or blood sugar. The frontal lobes are so sensitive to drops in glucose, in fact, that a change in mental function is one of the primary signals of nutrient deficiency. Assuming that we are getting glucose regularly, how does the specific type of carbohydrates we eat affect our brains? Carbs come in three forms: starch, sugar, and fiber. While on most nutrition labels, they are all lumped into one total carb count, the ratio of the sugar and fiber subgroups to the whole amount affect how the body and brain respond. A high glycemic food, like white bread, causes a rapid release of glucose into the blood, and then comes the dip. Blood sugar shoots down, and with it, our attention span and mood. On the other hand, oats, grains, and legumes have slower glucose release, enabling a steadier level of attentiveness. For sustained brain power, opting for a varied diet of nutrient-rich foods is critical. When it comes to what you bite, chew, and swallow, your choices have a direct and long-lasting effect on the most powerful organ in your body.
Applications in nutrition. Your brain and nervous system depend on nutrition to build new protein cells and tissues. In order to function effectively, your body requires a variety of carbohydrates, proteins, and minerals. To get all the nutrients that improve mental functioning, nutritionists suggest eating meals and snacks that include a variety of foods, instead of eating the same meals each day. Here are the top 3 foods to incorporate into a healthy mental diet. Complex carbohydrates such as brown rice and starchy vegetables can give you energy. Quinoa, millet, beets, and sweet potatoes have more nutritional value and will keep you satisfied longer than the simple carbohydrates found in sugar and candy. Lean proteins also lean energy that allows your body to sink and wreck quickly. Good sources of protein include chicken, meat, fish, eggs, soybeans, nuts, and seeds. Fatty acids are crucial for the proper function of your brain and nervous system. You can find them in fish, meat, eggs, nuts, and flax seeds.
There's more to quelling stress than yoga and meditation. In fact, eating the right foods can help keep you calm too. Here are 3 of our favorite soothing foods. First up, chocolate. Research found that eating a small square of dark chocolate daily can help keep you calm. It seems as though the flavonoids in this sweet treat work to lower stress hormones, and this is especially true for folks with high anxiety. Don't go overboard though. In the study, just 1.4 ounces of chocolate was enough to do the trick. Second, try oatmeal. Oatmeal is a whole grain. Healthy carbs like this spur the release of the brain chemical serotonin, which has a mood-boosting effect. Add oatmeal and other whole grains like quinoa and brown rice to your diet to help reduce stress. Finally, sweet red peppers are full of vitamin C, which may help clear the stress hormone cortisol from the blood. In one study, people who consumed high doses of vitamin C before tackling stress-inducing activities had lower blood pressure and recovered faster from the cortisol surge. Of course, stress can sometimes cause us to overeat, so reach for all foods, including these, in moderation.
Pros and cons. Negative emotions may lead to a feeling of emptiness or an emotional void. Food is believed to be a way to fill that void and create a false feeling of fullness or temporary wellness. Not only can emotional eating affect people mentally, but it can also have detrimental effects on physical health. Many turn to comfort foods that are high in fat, salt, and calories. Consuming too many of these foods can lead to weight gain, as well as to many health risks including these: high cholesterol, hypercholesterolemia, high blood pressure, hypertension, increased risk of various cardiovascular disease, stroke, and myocardial infarction. Skeletal and muscular problems, increased risk of certain types of cancer, respiratory dysfunction, diabetes, sleeping disorders. Issue applied in Ecuador. In Ecuador, the age standardized prevalence of overweight was 39.5%, 22.3% was obese, and 31.2% had metabolic syndrome. The prevalence of obesity, low HDL cholesterol, and abdominal obesity were higher in women than in men, whereas men had a higher prevalence of hypertension. Prevalence of both obesity and meds was higher in urban areas, at low altitude regions, coast and Galapagos, and at high socioeconomic status. Conclusion. Food can help calm emotions initially, but it's important to differentiate between emotional and psychical hunger. There are other alternatives to deal with stress, such as exercise and the practice of mindful eating habits. Sometimes stress and depression are severe and eating disorders develop. If it is difficult to control eating habits, professional advice should be sought.